This is my iron farm and it works as it was intended, but it looks awful. So today we'll begin the process of transforming this into a giant monolith which was built in order to protect the world. Anyway, the iron farm was built around a month ago, but the project began all the way back in January in a separate world. I wanted to build something around the farm, but I never got a clear idea what it was going to be. So I went through multiple inspiration images and build designs until I came across this, which I knew I had to try building when I first saw it. So here we are. I started by changing how the farm looks. I intended to use blocks that work well with the leaves because they cannot be replaced. So I went with green concrete, which I think looks great. For the inside, I just covered the holes with deep slate. There is not a lot I can do to make this space look good apart from filling small gaps like this. From there, I began replacing the grass with coarse dirt because it looks much better and it kinda gave old walked over vibe. For mob proofing, I used frog lights with brown carpet on top to match the ground. In future, I might change the interior, but for now this looks fine. Because the bamboo farm is nearby, it constantly produces bamboo while I'm in the area. So now and then I would harvest the product, which was the plan. While I'm building the monolith, both iron and bamboo farm work in the background, and I would stock up on them for future projects, and I don't have to AFK. While I'm building the outline, I had to make sure the build maintain a certain distance from the center. Otherwise, iron golem would spawn outside the farm, which was the reason I had to go through so many build ideas. Like the image, I want to build a giant middle piece and 4 smaller platforms around it. For today, I just want to get the shape of the build. I will do all the texturing and detailing in the future, so I don't have to spend months in a single video and I can focus on other projects. Anyway, you cannot build these kind of structure without planning some parts of them, and I did design pretty much the entire structure. But unlike Java, there is no such thing as Mathematica in Bedrock, and it was really hard to stick with the initial design. But at the end, the outer platform looked pretty cool and kinda grand, if I say it to myself. But building the 4 structure completely drained my stone supply. And this is where this thing come into play. It's a stone farm, and by setting a beacon and an auto clicker, you can collect thousands of stone by AFKing. After doing some simple math, I figured I would need somewhat between 6 to 7 shulker boxes of stone, which took around an hour to collect. After that, I repaired my tools and continued building. I ran out of stone before I could fully complete the final piece, so I worked on it for a while before starting the main platform. The main body of the build will be divided into 2 parts, the monolith itself and the platform it was going to stand on or float over. The platform alone took me more than 3 hours to complete, even though I didn't do any detail whatsoever. I had to be careful that I don't accidentally break the iron farm in any way, so I made sure each layer is out of the spawn radius of the farm. To add a little more depth in the build, I added a strip of stone stairs, which added a line dividing the platform into 2 parts. The roof of this thing cannot be built out of stone because it might be in the iron farm spawn radius. I did not confirm the theory, but I didn't want to take any risk. For some reason, the only block that a golem cannot spawn on are leaves, and because leaves are transparent, I first had to add a layer of moss and then the leaves. So I AFK'd at the moss farm for a while, and from there I harvested bunch of azalea leaves and continued building. This build is going to be a huge part of the lore behind the world I'm building. I haven't completed the story yet, but I have a pretty clear image about how I want this world to come together and how all the builds that I'm doing will come together and tell a story. Anyway, the main monolith was the hardest part of the entire build. I struggled with multiple parts, like the curve on top, the bottom and other small bits and bobs. This took a whole day to complete, and I'm not looking up to detailing this thing. If you notice, I left a giant hole in the middle of the build. It is there because if I put the roof in completely, the iron farm will stop working, which is not the end of the world. Like I can change it into a general villager trading hall, but not now, because we'll need a lot more iron for the future. There are a lot of things missing from the build that I'm not sure how I'm going to build. If you look at the image that I'm using for inspiration, you'll see a whole upper part missing from the build. I might build it, but right now I'm debating how I'm going to incorporate the train and all the other things I need to add to make the build as cool as the inspiration. Now for the final thing I want to build in this video was a layer below the build. I'm not going to connect it all the way yet, seeing how many things are incomplete, and I want to match the terrain with the build. So I started by removing the villager houses that were in the way. From there I lit the interior of the outer platform. Mob don't fall on me while I'm working in the area, and finally connected everything with a giant grass platform. And that is it for today. I had a blast working on the project and I hope you did too. This build is nowhere near completion and I will continue working on it in the future. But for now, watch one of these and I will see you in the next one.